I'm glad to see women asking the questions.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Akiko Inoue from Yomiuri Shimbun. I have a question for the speaker about China. In the reaction of China, it's conducting the military drill since yesterday. How do you think this visit will affect the U.S.-China relationship?
Could you repeat that?
How do you think
the U.S.-China relationship?
The visit. Well, our president, we are the House of Representatives, the Congress of the United States, and much of legislation, whether it's trade or appropriations and the rest, begins in the House of Representatives. And so we are one part of this. Our president has his communication with the president of China, and again, we are two big countries. We have to have communication among us. When I was a little girl, I was told at the beach if I dug a hole deep enough, we would reach China. So we've always felt a connection there. But the fact is, I have said it again and again, if we do not speak out for human rights in China because of commercial interest, we lose all moral authority to speak out about human rights any place in the world. We're trying to find our common ground. China has some contradictions, some progress in terms of lifting people up, some horrible things happening in terms of the Uyghurs. In fact, it's been labeled a genocide. So again, we must work with China on issues that relate to the climate crisis, being two of the biggest emitters, and we can learn a lot from China in that regard. But we also have to work together for some decisions in that place. So again, it isn't about our visit determining what the U.S.-China relationship is. It's a much bigger and longer-term challenge, and one that, again, we have to recognize that we have to work together in certain areas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any colleagues want to comment?
Let me say something on that real quick. Let me also just say briefly that anytime that the Chinese ambassador has asked to meet with me as chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, I've always been willing to meet. That will continue. That will not change. What also will not change is when we meet, I will talk honestly.
Now we're joined by my colleague Abhishek Jha to give us more perspective on this. That is Nancy Pelosi, who is speaking at Tokyo. Abhishek, understandably, a lot of questions about China. In fact, in a visit to South Korea, she avoided commenting on China and Taiwan because of the escalating conflict there. Now Taiwan getting battle ready, if it does come to that, will U.S. be supporting Taiwan militarily?
So, Shilpa, this is something that the future only will tell whether or not U.S. will like to be entangled in that military might with China, because there is a lot of tension going on globally. We have seen Russia-Ukraine conflict already going on. So there's a lot of NATO engagement in that area of tension. Also, if Taiwan and China, they happen to be at fight with each other, probably if USA is involved, it will be like escalatory in nature, and that will involve a lot of other countries also into this whole dynamics of grim situation. So probably both sides will try to avoid such type of conflict. Meanwhile, there's surely Chinese military might that is being exhibited in and around Taiwan Sea. China has got the best of the know-how of any future misadventure, probably that it would like to have on Taiwan in order to have it reunified with mainland China. That is something, the long-term aspiration of Chinese mainland CCP government. Meanwhile, the Taiwan government has also said that all the missiles, those were fired Dongfeng missiles, they were above the atmospheric range, so they did not pose any threat to Taiwan. However, Taiwanese military or Taiwan's defense system were on normal but on an alert mode. They did fire some flares, some warning flares to the drones they were approaching to Taiwanese island. And also, this whole military show of strength has other dynamics that is playing up. That is about economic sanctions against Taiwan that China is trying to do, and also one of the most busiest routes in the world is also being blockaded. So this blockade, if it happens correctly, then it will have economic repercussions for the global audience as well. We have seen that many flights have been rerouted and they have been diverted. There are almost 250 plus ships, cargo ships, who are in that water that has been prohibited for traveling further because of the prohibition that China have imposed in the wake of military drills. Another 50, 60 cargo ships are scheduled to reach in that water by Sunday. And if these ships have to reroute themselves or they have to stop and wait for the Chinese permission, that will add up to a lot to the global economy, which is already reeling under the pressure from not only higher inflation, but also the shortages and disruption in in multiple supply chains. So this whole operation that China is doing is in a way a warning to the world that the Chinese strength, which is actually showcasing in Taiwan Island, has a glimpse that something that China can do in future as well if it happens to have any insecurity about its own territorial integrity, in the words of Chinese government, or any economic sanction that it would like to impose on Taiwan and the other countries in and around South Pacific or East China Sea.
Well, Abhishek, the whole global community is looking upon this with a lot of trepidation and a lot of fear as well, with escalating tensions between China and Taiwan, the highest they've been in decades so far. Take us through the comments of global leaders, what their official statements have been, and the stance of the major countries so far.
We know the stand of USA. They have always tried to support Taiwan. Even Nancy Pelosi, US House Speaker of Representative, she has also said that they are in touch with Taiwan government. I mean, they try to express their solidarity with the human rights value and the democracy that Taiwanese government espouses. Also, there have been comments from G7 group of nations who have condemned Chinese aggression, and China has also retaliated for that statement. We have statements coming from ASEAN foreign ministers also. They have called for peace and negotiation and resolving any issue that has given rise to this conflict through dialogue and talks. Qatar has also issued a statement last night where it has called for peace in this region, and they have also asked for the parties who are involved or who have conflict to resort to dialogue and diplomatic ways to ease down the tension. So there have been multiple statements coming from various parts of the globe because the tension that is happening currently in Taiwan is not limited to Taiwan. As we talked, there are other economic implications as well. At the time in the show military strength, there's always tension. Even the smallest miscalculation can flare up to a full-fledged war. So something of that sort people do not want to have, especially when most of the assets and most of the economic engagements or the diplomatic stress has been in and around Russia-Ukraine war, which is already going on for almost 160 days. So at this hour of crisis, which is already the world is already facing, countries do not want to have another flashpoint where they will have to think about economic viability and the other diplomatic and maritime securities as well.